The alien crowd laughed as the human was dragged into the grand hall. Tall, proud Varn soldiers pushed him forward. His clothes were torn, his face bruised, and his arms chained. He walked with slow, heavy steps. Everyone in the hall looked down, on him. To them, he was just a weak creature from a broken world. Earth had fallen years ago. The Varn Empire crushed it like it was nothing. No humans had been seen since. Until now. The royal court gathered to watch. The tall, armored Varn prince sat on his throne, his 4 glowing eyes full of pride. He leaned forward, looking at the human with a smirk. "Is this all that's left of Earth?" he said loudly, making the crowd laugh again. "A scared little animal?" The human said nothing. He looked around the room slowly, studying the aliens. His face showed no fear, only quiet calm. His eyes were sharp, too sharp for someone so broken. He was young, maybe in his late 20s. His skin was dirty, but his stare was clean and cold like ice. One of the Varn guards stepped closer and hit him across the face. The human's head snapped to the side, but he didn't fall. He stood still. Blood ran from his lip, but he kept looking straight ahead. The prince stood up and walked down the steps, moving close to the human. He circled him like a hunter circles prey. "Speak, human," the prince said. "Do you not know where you are? This is the center of the galaxy's most powerful empire. You are nothing here." The human finally spoke. His voice was low and calm. "Then why are you all afraid?" The room went quiet. The prince's smile faded for a second, but he quickly laughed again. "Afraid? Of you?" He waved his hand. "You're just a shadow of a failed species. Your people cried when they died. We saw it." The human looked at the prince. "Then you saw nothing." 2 guards grabbed him again and pulled him away. The prince ordered him to be locked in the deepest part of the palace prison. As the crowd returned to their laughter, no one noticed the small smile on the human's face as he was taken away. In the prison, the walls were cold and metal. Cameras watched every corner. Guards stood with heavy rifles ready to fire at any movement. The human sat on the floor in silence. He didn't ask for food. He didn't ask for water. He just waited. Late that night, something strange happened. The lights flickered. The cameras turned off for exactly 2 seconds. When they came back on, the human was sitting in the same place. But now, he was smiling. The guard in the control room frowned. He rewound the footage, checked the system, and found nothing. Everything looked normal. But he still felt cold. He rubbed his arms, shivering. "It's just a glitch," he told himself, but deep down he didn't believe it. The next morning, a high-ranking alien advisor came to the prince. His face was pale and his hands shook. "This human, there's something wrong," he said. "He doesn't act like a prisoner. He acts like he's waiting." The prince scoffed. "Waiting for what? Rescue? There are no humans left. We wiped them out." The advisor nodded slowly. "Yes. But do you remember the stories? About Deathworlders? How their homeworld was one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy? How they adapted to survive things we can't imagine?" The prince rolled his eyes. "Stories. Old myths. Nothing more." The advisor wasn't so sure. He looked at the camera feed showing the human's cell. The man was still there, quiet, calm, staring at the wall like he could see something far away. That night, the guard who hit the human was found dead. His body was found inside a locked room. No sign of a break-in, no sound, no struggle, just silence and blood. A symbol was burned into the wall above his body, a symbol no one had seen in years, the Earth flag. The prince was angry. He ordered a full investigation. "Find who did this. This is no ghost story." But the fear was spreading. One by one, people began to whisper. Maybe the human wasn't alone. Maybe something else had come with him. Maybe something was already inside the palace. In the prison cell, the human closed his eyes and whispered one word. "Soon." And the cameras blinked again. The palace guards doubled their numbers. No one felt safe anymore. After the guard's body was found, everyone started whispering behind closed doors. No one could explain how it happened. The room was locked from the inside. No one entered. No one left. And yet, the guard was dead, torn apart like an animal had attacked him. And on the wall, the human symbol of Earth burned into the metal. That frightened even the bravest Varn soldier. The prince ordered all focus on the human prisoner. He is the only answer. The prince said. No one else is here, no ships entered our system, no messages were sent, he's alone. But still, no one could explain how a man in chains killed a soldier in a locked room. The human was moved to a deeper, darker cell. More guards watched him. New cameras were installed. Laser traps lined the hallway. Even the walls were made thicker. Now, said the prince, let's see what tricks this human tries. But the human didn't try anything. He just sat in silence. He didn't sleep much. He didn't eat much. He stared at the walls like he was remembering something. Sometimes, the guards saw him move his fingers like he was typing on an invisible screen. They thought it was nothing, just madness. But one night something changed. A young guard stood watch outside the cell. Everything was quiet. Then he heard a whisper. It was soft. Too soft to understand. He looked around. No one was there. He checked the radio. No message. Then, he heard it again. He turned toward the cell. The human wasn't speaking. He wasn't even moving. But the whisper was louder now, like it came from inside the guard's helmet. We see you, it said. The guard stepped back in fear. He tried to run, but his feet froze. He felt like something was holding him in place. A cold feeling wrapped around his chest. Then the lights blinked, and everything went dark for 5 seconds. When the lights came back, the guard was on the floor shaking. He didn't remember falling. He didn't remember anything. But something was burned into the floor next to him. Another symbol. Another human sign. He quit the next day. He didn't speak to anyone. The prince was furious. He shouted at his generals, blaming them for weakness and fear. He is alone, he screamed. There is no human army. This is mind games, fear tricks. We are Varn. We do not fear. But his words didn't help. More guards began to report. Strange things. Cameras froze. Doors opened by themselves. Cold air filled the halls. Whispers in the dark. Some guards even claimed to see shadows moving without light. One night, the queen herself woke up in fear. She thought she heard her son, the young prince, crying from the hallway. She walked outside, calling for him. But the hallway was empty. Only shadows. And then she saw it. A shape standing at the end of the hall. Tall, still, watching. She ordered the guards to fire. They rushed in, searched everything. Nothing was there. But the next morning, burned into the hallway wall was the flag of Earth again. This time bigger. This time glowing red. The royal advisor begged the prince to act. This is not normal, he said. This is not human technology. This is something else. Something older. You said the humans were destroyed, but what if they changed? The prince stared at the advisor. What do you mean? The advisor paused. The humans didn't survive their planet because they were lucky. They adapted. They became stronger. Earth was a death world. It changed them. What if this human is not a soldier, but a weapon? The prince dismissed the idea. Enough of this nonsense. He's just a man. He bleeds. He will die like the rest. But in the prison, the human was still calm. He stood now, walking slowly around his cell. He looked up at the camera and smiled. He knew they were watching. That same night, every camera in the prison hallway went dark for 10 seconds. When they came back, every guard posted on that floor was unconscious. Some had burns on their skin. Others had symbols drawn on their faces, in ash. The cell was still locked. The human was still inside. But written across the floor in glowing red letters were 3 words: not alone anymore. And for the first time, the prince felt fear. The scream tore through the palace halls like a knife through silence. Guards came running from all directions, weapons ready. They followed the sound to one of the upper chambers near the throne room. What they found made even the strongest. Varn soldier stepped back. A noble, one of the royal family's closest advisors, was dead. His body was hanging in the air, pinned to the wall by sharp pieces of broken metal. His eyes were wide open, frozen in terror. Blood dripped slowly onto the white floor, painting it red. The worst part? There were no signs of a fight, no alarms, no broken doors or windows. The room was locked from the inside. Once again, a symbol was burned into the wall behind the body, the flag of Earth. By now, even the prince could not hide his fear. He shouted orders, demanding answers. How is this possible? Who is helping him? Where is the traitor? But no one had an answer. Every scan, every report said the same thing. There was no one else, no human ships, no human signals. No human life signs except for one, the prisoner. He had not left his cell. He had not touched the door. But death followed him like a shadow. The palace guards became restless. Some refused to stand watch near the prison. Others left their posts, without permission. 2 guards even tried to escape the palace, claiming the human was calling something from the dark. They were arrested, but not before warning others. He is not just a man, one of them whispered. He is a message. The prince was losing control. He demanded the prisoner be brought to him, in chains, in front of the entire court again. We will make him speak, he said. We will show the people he has no power. So the guards came for the human. They entered the cell with strong rifles, shock rods, and heavy armor. But when they stepped inside, they all stopped. The human was standing in the middle of the room, eyes closed, arms behind his back like a soldier at rest. He opened his eyes and looked at them. All 4 guards dropped their weapons. They didn't. Know why? Their hands just let go. One of them dropped to his knees, shaking. Another turned and ran out of the room without saying a word. The human said nothing. He stepped forward slowly and walked with them, without chains, without force. The prince was waiting in the throne room. So were many nobles, generals, and soldiers. Everyone was tense. Everyone was quiet. Then the human entered. He walked calmly through the grand doors. He did not bow. He did not speak. He simply looked around, just like he did the first time. But now no one laughed, no one mocked him. The prince stood from his throne. Tell us what you are, he said. What is this game? What are you doing to my palace? The human looked at him and finally spoke. This isn't a game, he said. This is a warning. The prince stepped down, his voice angry. You think we fear you? You are one, just one. The human nodded. And still you bleed. The prince tried to strike him. A slap to show power. But before his hand touched the human's face, something stopped him. The air changed. The room became cold. The lights flickered. And from the shadows behind the throne, something moved. Everyone turned. It looked like a shape. A tall, dark figure, with glowing blue eyes. Then another. Then another. Silent, standing still. 5 of them. Then 10. Then more. No doors opened. No alarms sounded. But the figures were there. They were not human. But they were not Varn. They looked like shadows wearing armor, like ghosts with purpose. The prince froze. The human looked at him. You laughed when you took Earth. You thought we were weak. You thought we were gone. One of the ghostly figures stepped forward. It held a blade that shimmered with energy. We survived, said the human. We became something new. Something the galaxy forgot to fear. The lights went out. Screams followed. When the lights returned, the human was gone. So were the ghostly figures. But the throne room was no longer the same. The walls were cracked. The windows shattered. Several guards lay unconscious, and burned into the throne itself was the same symbol. The flag of Earth. Only now it was crossed with fire. And the message below it was clear. We remember everything. The prince stood in silence, shaking. For the first time in his life, he did not feel powerful. He felt hunted. The palace was no longer quiet. Fear lived in every hallway now. Soldiers walked in groups. Doors were sealed tighter. Lights stayed on all night, but they still flickered. The Varn Empire's most powerful place, once filled with pride, now felt like a cage. No one spoke of the human by name. They called him the Ghost now. The Ghost of Earth. The one who walked into their palace alone and left fire behind. The throne room had not been cleaned. The burn marks were still there. The Earth symbol still glowed faintly on the throne. The prince ordered it removed, but every time they tried, the wall burned hotter. One worker even lost his hand. It turned black like it had touched ice and fire at the same time. The royal advisor came to the prince again. He looked tired, older than before. "We are under attack," he said softly. "Not with ships, not with guns, with fear, with something we don't understand." The prince snapped. "What do you suggest? Surrender? To one man?" The advisor shook his head. "He is not alone. He never was." And he was right. That night, across the city, people saw strange lights in the sky, shapes too fast for ships. No sound, no signal, only movement, shadows slipping through the air like ghosts. Then buildings began to fail. Power plants stopped working for exactly 10 seconds. Communications went dark. Screens showed only one image, the Earth flag. Then the message appeared. "You mocked one, but we are many." Panic spread. People fled. The streets filled with fear. The prince declared a full lockdown. Soldiers patrolled everywhere. Drones flew over the city night and day. But nothing stopped the fear, and the human. No one could find him. He had vanished after the throne room event. No cameras saw him leave. No doors opened. He was just gone, until 3 days later. A report came from the outer edge of the palace. A small servant girl had gone missing. She had wandered into the lower tunnels where the machines kept the city running. No one knew how she got there. When the guards searched the area, they found her sitting alone, safe, unhurt, but with wide eyes. She said softly, "He spoke to me." The guards asked, "Who?" She pointed into the shadows. "The human." They asked what he said. She replied, "He said, he doesn't want to kill." But they do. When the guards looked into the shadows, there was no one there, but the air felt cold, heavy, like someone or something was still watching. The girl was taken to the royal healer. She had no wounds, but her mind had changed. She began to draw pictures, symbols, maps, things no child should know, and in every drawing one thing was always present: the flag of Earth, always burning. The prince could no longer pretend. He gathered his war council. "We strike now," he said. "We end this ghost before it becomes a fire we can't control." They used everything: heat scans, energy detectors, heartbeat monitors. They searched every room, every floor. But no human was found, until a low-level engineer noticed something strange in the palace systems. There was a signal inside the palace network. It wasn't Varn code. It was human, and it was growing, like a virus. The engineers tried to remove it. Every time they deleted it, it came back stronger, smarter. It wasn't just in the system, it was learning. And then one by one, the palace defense systems started turning off. Gun turrets stopped working. Cameras went black. Doors opened by themselves. The prince was trapped in his own palace. The advisor came again, pale with fear. "He is turning your strength into weakness. Your machines are his now." The prince whispered, "How?" "He had no tools, no tech. He was in chains." The advisor looked at him. Maybe the chains were part of the plan. That night, in the middle of the capital city, every screen turned on by itself. No one touched them. No one ordered it. But they all showed the same thing: a face, The human, staring calmly into the camera. He spoke one sentence. "This is not revenge. This is memory." Then the screens went black, and for the first time in Varn history, the capital was completely silent. No music, no voices, no orders, only silence. Because now they knew. He was still here, and he wasn't finished. The silence didn't go away. After the human's face appeared on every screen, people stopped speaking in public. The Varn were a proud race, but now they walked with their heads down. Even the palace guards didn't shout orders anymore. They whispered. They moved in groups of 4, not because of orders but because of fear. The prince locked himself in his private chambers. He no longer trusted anyone, not even his own guards. He spoke only to the royal advisor and his top general. But even they looked different now. Tired, unsure. Across the empire, things were breaking. One city lost its power grid for an entire day. When it came back, every billboard and sign showed the same image. The burning Earth flag and the words, "We remember." Another planet's military base shut down after all their drones flew into the sea at the same time. No explanation, no recovery. Just silence. Whispers spread fast. People began to ask, is the human just one man? Or is he the voice of something greater? Meanwhile, inside the palace, strange things continued to happen. Food went missing. Water systems failed for 10 minutes every hour. Soldiers reported hearing footsteps behind them when no one was there. One soldier opened his locker and found it full of ash. Another found his weapon melted from the inside. One by one, soldiers started quitting. "I didn't join the army to fight ghosts," one said. Another wrote a message in his room before leaving. "He doesn't attack. He waits." And that's worse. The human was still unseen. No cameras showed him, no heat signs, no footsteps. But his presence was everywhere, like a storm hiding in the walls. The prince couldn't sleep. He barely ate. He ordered the throne room sealed, then moved into the war chamber deep underground. "He will not get me here," he said. But that night even the war chamber lights flickered, and on the big digital map of the empire one planet turned red, then another, then another. The general rushed in. "Sir, we're losing contact with outer colonies, no signals." The prince shouted, "Send fleets." "We tried," the general said, "but half the ships won't start, the rest, they refuse to go." Refuse? They say the war is already lost, that the human has already won. The prince slammed the table. He's alone, alone. But then, a soft sound echoed through the chamber. It came from the speakers. Static at first, then a soft voice. "The human." He said only, "One thing, you keep saying I'm alone." Then laughter, not human laughter. Many voices, all laughing. The signal cut. The lights shut off for 5 seconds. When they came back, everyone in the room was standing still, frozen. Not from fear, but from shock. Something had changed. The air itself felt different. The advisor walked to the screen. His face was pale. "This is not one man," he said softly. "This is a storm, and it's already inside our gates." That same night, the outer wall of the palace exploded from the inside. No ships attacked, no weapons fired. But when the guards ran to the area, they found the wall had been eaten from within, melted by something unseen. On the floor, written in glowing blue letters, was a new message. "We are the memory of Earth. You burned our world. Now you will feel what it's like to be forgotten." The prince gave his final command. "Kill the human. No questions, no trial. End it." But there was one problem. They still couldn't find him. He was not in the prison, not on the cameras, not in the palace systems. But at night, more and more people reported seeing him, standing in halls, watching from rooftops, whispering in dreams. Some believed he was no longer human at all, that Earth had changed him, that death had changed him And that what stood in their palace now was not a man, but a message wearing human skin. The fall had begun, and it would not stop. The palace, once the heart of the Varn Empire, was now a place of fear. Hallways that once echoed with commands and pride now stood quiet, broken. Statues had fallen. Lights flickered nonstop. Even the royal banners had been torn down by the wind that blew through shattered windows. The prince stayed deep underground, inside the last working chamber, surrounded by guards. He didn't sleep. He didn't eat. His eyes were red from fear and rage. He's just one man, he kept repeating to himself. He can't destroy an empire. But he could. And he was. One by one, the planets of the Varn Empire stopped answering calls. Colonies stopped sending supplies. Military outposts went silent. When the prince asked for updates, the answer was always the same. No signal. Every planet lost contact just before showing one final image. The burning Earth flag. Then nothing. No explosions. No battles. No blood. Just silence. And the sound of something. Watching. The general stood before the prince. His voice shook. We are losing everything. Entire systems have shut down. The people are panicking. Some are escaping the Empire's space. Others, they just vanish. The prince shouted, "Then find him. I want the human dead." But the general did not answer right away. Finally, he said, "What if he's already dead?" The room went quiet. The prince blinked. "What do you mean?" The advisor stepped forward. "What if what we captured was not a man, but a message? What if Earth sent more than a soldier? What if Earth sent a curse?" The prince slammed the table. "You fools! We are the rulers of this galaxy. We burned their world. We took their people. They had no armies left." "But they had pain," said the advisor quietly. "And sometimes, pain survives." Just then, the emergency lights went out. Total darkness. Only silence. Then, footsteps. Slow, steady, echoing through the underground halls. The guards raised their weapons. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. Then, without a sound, the heavy blast doors began to open, on their own. There stood the human. No armor, no weapons, just a calm face. He walked in slowly, like he was visiting old friends. The guards shouted, "Stop!" but their voices cracked. None of them moved. None of them fired. They were too afraid. The prince stepped back. How did you get here?" The human didn't answer right away. He looked at the walls, the blinking lights, the large war table. "I remember this place," he said. "I saw it in your memories. When you burned Earth, you celebrated here. You drank. You laughed," the prince growled. "Earth is gone." The human nodded. "Yes, but we are not." He looked at the guards. One by one, they lowered their weapons. "I didn't come to kill you," the human said. "I came to show you." He walked to the war table and placed his hand on it. Suddenly the screen lit up, not with maps but with memories. Images of Earth, green forests, blue oceans, children running, cities glowing, people laughing, then fire, the sky burning, the ships of the Varn Empire blotting out the sun, the screams, and finally, silence. The images faded. Everyone in the room was still. The human spoke again, softly. "You erased our home. You erased our history, but you forgot one thing." He pointed to his head. "We remember." The advisor fell to his knees. The general stepped back, eyes full of guilt. But the prince did not bow. He ran. Through the back exit, down the metal stairs, into the last throne room, the emergency throne built underground in case of war. He locked the doors behind him. He sat on the throne. "This is still my empire," he whispered. But then, the throne began to burn, slow at first, then faster. He screamed and jumped up. The fire formed a shape. The Earth flag. But this time, it turned to ash before his eyes, and behind him, a voice said, "So does your throne." He turned. The human stood there, but his eyes, they were not human anymore. They were blue fire, like stars, like the end. And as the fire spread, the prince realized something terrible. He was no longer facing a man. He was facing everything the Varn Empire had tried to destroy, and failed. The fire didn't stop. It swallowed the throne room, then the walls, then the ceiling. The prince screamed as the flames circled him, not burning skin, but burning pride, burning lies. He reached for a weapon, but it melted in his hand. He tried to run, but there was no door anymore, only ash. The human stood still, calm in the center of the fire, but he wasn't alone. From the shadows behind him, more figures stepped forward. Human figures, male, female, young, old, all glowing with the same quiet flame. None of them spoke. Their eyes held sorrow, not hate. They walked like memories, like ghosts of a world that once was. The prince fell to his knees. "What are you?" he whispered. The human stepped closer. His voice was soft, almost kind. "We are Earth. You erased our world, but you forgot. Memory does not die." The palace above crumbled. Towers fell. The guards who remained dropped their weapons and ran. Civilians watched from a distance as fire rose from the heart of the capital. Blue fire that did not smoke, did not spread, only consumed what was corrupt. All across the Varn Empire, people saw the same thing at the same time, on every screen, in every sky, in their minds, a single message. "We are still here." Then, silence. No ships came to attack. No armies followed. Just silence. And from that silence came change. Planets that once served the Varn began to rise up. The outer colonies no longer sent resources. Slaves were freed. The fear that held the empire, together cracked. The throne was gone. Nothing but ash. The human was never seen again. Some say he vanished with the fire. Others say he walks among the stars, visiting one Varn world after another, not to destroy but to remind, to show them what they tried to bury. The royal advisor survived. He became a teacher. He told the story again and again. A lone human, came in chains, but he brought with him something we had no weapon against: memory. The general disappeared. Some say he left the empire and now wears Earth's flag on his shoulder, a sign of apology, a sign of warning. As for the people of Varn, they remembered. The fear stayed for years, but so did the lesson. And far beyond the ruins of the old palace, among the stars, a strange signal still moves from system to system, a quiet song, a whisper of blue fire, a memory that cannot be deleted. It says, "You mocked one, but we are many. You burned our home, but we became the flame. You ruled with fear. We answered with memory. You had a throne. Now you have ash. And in the silence that follows, one truth remains. Humanity was never truly gone, it was only waiting.